Hi guys, so here Anwari here, co-founder of Sublime Trading. Here with your daily update for the UK and US indices for Friday the 8th of May. Alright guys, hope you're well, hope you had a great Thursday into Friday. Just a little heads up, today's a bank holiday here in the UK, so the UK markets are closed. But starting with the FTSE 100, there was a bullish day yesterday on the FTSE 100, but still waiting for a breakout above the high of last month to suggest a continuation to the upside. So patiently waiting for a trend direction. Moving into the US indices, very little in terms of significant price action yesterday. Still trading inside a weekly range, still trading inside the range of last month. What we want to see is a breakout, a clear breakout. There's resistance levels above price and there's support levels below price. So what we want to see is a clear breakout either to the upside or to the downside to suggest a trend direction. So for now, still waiting, still standing aside until we get a clear direction on the indices. Okay, let's get into the charts and have a catch up with what happened yesterday and what we could see into today.
So guys, if you're new to these daily updates, then I recommend starting with the recording that's pinned to the top of our Facebook page so that you get a very good understanding of what I go through in this chart section of the recording. Okay, so as always, this is our 3-screen setup. We have the monthly in the top left, weekly in the top right, and our daily chart here across the bottom. Starting with the FTSE 100, as already mentioned, it is a bank holiday today, so there won't be any price action as the market is closed. But let's see how it's ended the week. We can see prices still finding support at the low of February 2016. If you look at the month of May, you can see there is bullishness coming in, but it's still trading inside the range of the month of April. That's the high and the low of April. What we want to see is a breakout either to the upside or to the downside to suggest further weakness. There is that 6,000 round number directly above price acting as resistance. If we move across to the weekly time frame, price is below the 200 moving average and the 50 simple moving average. We can see this pullback in play. We can see bullishness this week, but it's this high point that we want to see cleared. And we can see that in more detail on the daily time frame. Price is below the 200 moving average, but trading above the 50 and the 20 simple moving averages, which is acting as support. You can see a bullish day yesterday, but again, ultimately, price just still inside this area of consolidation. We want to see a breakout of this high to suggest strength, or we want to start seeing support levels broken to suggest further weakness. So for now, we're standing aside until we get a direction on this. Moving into the US market, onto the US indices, there's NFP out today, so be aware of that. See how that will impact price action. Looking at the Dow Jones, starting at the monthly, we can see the month of May is bearish, but there is bullishness coming in and still very much inside the range of last month. If we move across to the weekly time frame, we can see prices trading around the 200 moving average, still in this pullback. Is this a pullback before a continuation, or is this now a sign of weakness to the downside? We really want to see a breakout. As already mentioned, if we get a breakout above the high of April, then we will start seeing strength towards that 50 simple moving average. If we come down to the daily time frame, price is below the 200 moving average, but finding support at the 20 simple moving average. Again, we can see prices inside this range. We want to see a breakout. On the S&P 500, similar setup. We can see that the month of May is inside the range of last month. That 3,000 round number directly above price, which will act as immediate resistance. If we move across to the weekly time frame, price is above the 200 moving average, but below the 50 simple moving average. We can see a bullish week so far this week, but again, we want to see the high of last month cleared and that 50 simple moving average and the 3,000 round number. If we come down to the daily time frame, price also has that 200 moving average also acting as resistance. We can see how the 20 simple moving average, which is the blue line, is acting as support. So this is what I mean by price being in a range. There are resistance levels above, there are support levels below. We want to see a breakout. The Nasdaq is leading the way of somewhat. If we start with the monthly time frame, we can see that May is actually trading above the high of last month and above the high of 2019. So this is looking bullish. So potentially we could see strength back to the all-time high. On the weekly time frame, price above the 200 and the 50 simple moving average. You can see the bullish move of this week so far, and crucially, it's now trading above that 9,000 round number. If we look at the scale on the right hand side, you can see that price is at 910 So just trading above that 9,000 round number. What we want to see is a close above this level by the end of play today. If we come down to the daily time frame, prices above the 200, the 50 and the 20 simple moving averages, we can see how prices continue to edge up. If you look at the candlesticks this week, they are gapping up, but there's not much size to the candles. So is this suggesting exhaustion to the move to the upside before weakness back to the downside, or is it just a slow move up as price edges towards that all-time high? Again, we really want to see price dictate. We can see price trading now above that 9,000 round number. So if we move to the S&P 500 mini, starting with the monthly, we can see that there is bullishness in the month of May, but that 3,000 round number still needs to be cleared. On the weekly, price above the 200 moving average, below the 50 simple moving average. We can see a bullish week so far this week, but we still have those resistance levels as mentioned that need to be cleared. We can see this in more detail on the daily. Price is below the 200 moving average, but finding support at the 20 simple moving average. So far today, pre-market action is suggesting that we are seeing further bullishness from yesterday. Of course, remember, it's how the candlesticks ends the day, and today being Friday, how it ends the week, which will give us a much clearer indication of what we could expect into next week. So a little bit of a waiting game now to see how today ends, but looking bullish so far, looking at pre-market action. But as already mentioned, we really want to see these resistance levels cleared. That's the high of April and the 200 moving average and the 3,000 round number to really suggest strength to the upside. So that's me for today and for this week, guys. Please like, comment and share. Let's get these videos out there. Let's get people understanding how to use the indices correctly to build a solid investment portfolio. And I will see you next week on Monday. Have a lovely weekend.